Hello, my name is Izabela Czaja from Kraków University of Economics. I have 3 points in one question. The first one the question is to Mr. Lar and Mr. Balcerowicz. Sorry. Could you briefly define the term economic? Economic, just simple word economic. Is there any relation between economic activity and welfare state idea? And could you just say in simple and a brief description, is so-called welfare state based on increasing debt leading to the bankruptcy of the whole nations? Okay, economic, is any relation between economic activity and the idea of the welfare state system, and is this system leading to the bankruptcy of the whole nations? Thank you.
First, 100 definitions of what is economic, and I am not going to list them. But usually, economic means certain decisions, activities like working, consuming, investing, innovating, etc., and related institutions like property rights, enterprises, and central banks, etc. This was the first point. The second one, I understand, was referring to whether a welfare state leads to the public debt crisis. It may, and we see that if you have an expanded large welfare state means a welfare state which produces spending to GDP ratio, total spending, in around 40% or more. And this is a typical situation in Europe. This is usually the product of the previous expansion during good times. It's easy to finance. But then when times are turning more difficult, you have aging population. Growth is slowing down. There's a very simple choice. After you wait with reforms until you have an acute crisis related to a public debt accumulation, or you reform instead of having a crisis. Some countries have waited. So Greece is an example. Portugal, to some extent, is an example. And I think it's better to learn from other people's mistakes than to commit the same mistakes. Certainly, there's enough lessons. Now, as I try to show, the expanding large welfare state hurts the people. The impression is it helps the weaker. In fact, it hurts, especially the weaker people, by depriving them of something which is very important for good life, which is work. It reduces employment. It reduces through various channels, by destroying incentives, by lowering savings, by lowering investment. It's a large welfare state, not small. It's very, very destructive. So it's better to reform it instead of waiting until the crisis comes, which is not an easy matter. We know that. Otherwise, there would be not a problem. Having right individuals in right places in right time, it matters, but it's not sufficient. You need organizations which would prepare the blueprints for change so as to be ready if opportunities arise. Every window of opportunity should be used, but for that you have to be ready. You have to prepare. You have to know what to do in a short time. And second, you have to work on the public opinion all the time. All the time. And you have to be professional, not just preaching. Sorry. You have to be very targeted. Very targeted. You should not appeal only to economy or efficiency. You have to appeal to ethics. You have to take away the high moral ground, which is taken by various statists. They who preach that good large state is the only good state. And if you are professional enough, then you win.
Mr. Lar and Father Zembe, if you'd like to comment as well.
I'm very weak on definitions as I'm not an economist, but I'm a practitioner. In practice, the economy means for me to just to work and to create the welfare, and welfare state is something which takes away the welfare from one people and tries to give this to the other people, not trusting too much the people's own decisions and free will to make their own choices. That for me is mostly the difference. And the welfare really state in the current mode, as John Paul II has stated, is taking away the creativity of the people, and which means it's taking away one of the biggest gifts what the God has given to us.